we doing, guys? Welcome to the late Friday Waffle. Yeah, it's now Saturday. Apologies about not getting this waffle out last night. But there's two people you can thank for that. It's two fat bastards. Now anybody that probably watches my channel probably watches these two guys as well. Two fat bastards is Chris Shank and Carol. Now apologies Carol, I don't actually know your second name. But these guys, basically I think it's once a month, they link up online, is it in Google Hangout or something I think they call it, and they just talk pish for about 2 hours, and I've got to say it's absolutely, well, I made a comment last night, it's like crack cocaine watching these guys. It is so entertaining. I mean, last night I was planning to make my Friday waffle, go for a bath. As it turns out, I realised that the two fat bastards was on, and I mean what they do is actually, I completely forgot to mention that the biggest kind of point of this video is they talk on Google Hangouts live. Now you can actually obviously interact with them, you can post comments on Twitter and on Facebook, not on Facebook, on YouTube, and obviously they'll answer your questions. So yeah, you get a lot of good banter. But yeah, I had things planned. Then when I realised that they were actually broadcasting, I ended up watching it, and I think it's they always go up to midnight. So thanks to these two guys, there was no Friday Waffle on Friday, so you're getting the Friday Waffle on Saturday. Now it's absolutely gorgeous outside, the sun is shining, it's roasting hot, and I'm sitting in here making videos. So yeah, anyway, my wife and daughter, they're away down to the shops, so I thought I'll get my Friday Waffle done today. I've got other stuff I need to do as well. So I hope you've had a good week, guys. Weather wise, it's been alright up here, still a bit of cold wind. Summer still doesn't seem to be around the corner, but we're not into summer yet, but it's still, just when you get a nice day you then seem to get a really cold day as well, sort of thing. So yeah, I've had no bad week. It's been really busy work wise. Now again, apart from down the rabbit hole, there has been a complete lack of questions. Come on, what's going on? Now, I'll be honest, last night when I was thinking about the Friday Waffle, I was completely scratching my head. I couldn't think of anything to talk about. Now, this kind of thing that I'm doing just now, is anybody that makes YouTube videos, you can't just try and make things up. It's got to be something that you want to talk about, because if you're talking about something just for the sake of it, people are going to pick that up when they're watching you, and they're not going to watch it. That's going to become pretty obvious to kind of viewers. So yeah, I was really struggling big time with, I had nothing to talk about, and I was that close from actually not having a Friday Waffle. Now, I enjoy doing the Friday Waffle, I really do, but when there's nothing to really talk about, I mean, I know you're probably screaming at the camera thinking, well, there's thousands of things to talk about, but there was nothing that I could think of. I thought, because usually what I used to do, throughout the week I would think of things, I would take a note of it, I would write it down, and so when I came to Friday I would have stuff to talk about, but like I said, I had nothing. But I've managed to cobble, oops, penalty kick, I've managed to cobble a few bits and pieces together, just based on things there's the phone, I can leave that. Yeah, anyway, so first things first, as I've mentioned, I've been selling off bits and pieces of, I wouldn't say my collection as such, but I've been selling bits and pieces of stuff that I'm just not using, and I'm using it to buy other stuff. That's how I tend to fund a lot of my purchases. Now, two of the things that I've managed to sell, fortunately, well, not to tell a lie, I've still got one to sell. Impulse buys. I think it's something that a lot of people do. I'm certainly guilty of it. You know, you see something, invariably it's because it's a bargain price, and you buy it, and you take it home, or it arrives and you think, oh excellent, and then you look at it on a shelf 6 months later and it's never been used. Yeah, we've all done it. I'm certainly guilty of it. Probably my biggest impulse waste of money purchase, not so much a huge amount of money, is I was down at the gadget show 2 years ago I think it was, and I was wandering about my mate, and you know, I didn't have a lot of money on me. I thought I can't afford to buy a 4K TV or whatever the hell it was, you know. But as we're about to leave, I said to my mate, we can't come all the way down to Manchester and not buy something at the gadget show. We've got to buy something. What can we buy? Now, we'd been at a stall. It was one of the first stalls we went to when we first arrived, and then we saw this thing and then we kind of wandered away. So I said to him, I'm going to go back there and buy this thing, and he thought, yeah. So we did, and it's this thing here, Mind Play. Now what it is, it's not as exciting as it looks. I mean, on the side it says here, 4 brain powered movies, Park Hour Heroes, Sports Academy, Paranormal, Mind and Bullet Dodger. Excuse me a wee second, guys. Right guys, that was to the wife. She's lost her bank card again. Anyway, what was I talking about? Gadget show. So, this thing. It doesn't look. It's not as exciting as you think it is. You can't control anything with it. What it is, it's a thing, a headset that you put in your head, obviously, and it measures brain activity. Now, no laughing at the back. And the way you play the game is, the more you relax, you influence whatever it is in the game to happen. I tried it at the time, and it seemed like science fiction. It's like, oh, this is amazing. So we bought it, and I had one go at trying to use it, and I came to the conclusion it was crap. It was basically boring, you know, completely uninteresting to use. So yeah, I bought that about 2 years ago. It went up into the loft about a year ago, after being opened and used once. So some some person on eBay has decided to give me 40 quid for it. I think I paid 70. So 40 quid after 2 years isn't bad. I've actually, believe it or not, I even asked people in a couple of forums that I'm on, does anybody want this for nothing? And nobody was interested. So yeah, that was a complete waste of time. The other thing, I bought a Nexus tablet about a year ago. Great, lovely little bit of sort of tech. The problem was it's been updated recently, and the hardware is just not powerful enough to run the latest operating system. So it's basically rendered it useless, completely useless. So I sold that last week, or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, and one of my mates was selling this Windows tablet. Now, he told me that it was really super powerful, which I'm sure it is. So I thought, if you're selling it for like 50 quid, so I bought it, and this is it here, the Stream 7. Now it's a nice little bit of tech, but the problem with it, I find it runs Windows 8, and most tablets are, this sort of operating system is designed for a tablet. It's all touchscreen. The problem with this one, it's running Windows 8, and it's exactly the same version of Windows 8 that you'd put on a desktop. So you're having to, like, you know, you've got like instead of double clicking, you've got to hold the button, you've got to hold your finger down for a certain length of time and double tap. And the actual, like, you know, when it comes up, like, do you want to delete something, and you hit OK, it's tiny, so it's far too small and fiddly to use. So I mean I bought it, believe it or not, thinking that would be perfect for putting game base, all the games and that on it. But it's just too fiddly to use. So yeah, I bought that about 2 weeks ago, and I've got it advertised. I just think I'm not going to use it, so let's get rid. So yeah, impulse buys, we've all made them. I'm half expecting another phone call, guys, from the wife to say she's found the thing. So right, Monkey Spaz 5000. He put up a video about collecting for collecting's sake. Now, excuse me, I'm eating a mint. Now I don't term myself a collector. I do collect a wee bit, that would be lying if I said I didn't collect stuff. I mean, I'm looking up there and I've got books and all manner of different bits and pieces, but anything I buy, apart from these two things, I buy to use. I've never been one to buy like collections of stuff so I can collect everything. I've never ever had that kind of incentive or passion to do it. But it's interesting, when I was watching James, Monkey Spaz, he was buying these is it Amiibos they're called, the sort of Nintendo figures, and for what I gather they're about 15 quid each. It's just basically a little figure. I think you can use it in games or something, but a little figure, it's about £15 each, and I don't know how many he bought, but what James was saying is, you know, Nintendo were bringing out 3 or 4 of these every month, and they were deliberately, well that's what I'm guessing, deliberate, they were putting them in kind of short demand so that it was hard to get some, so people were paying ridiculous prices to get the ones that were quite rare. But what he was saying is sometimes it's easy to get into a situation where you're just buying things just purely to see you've got the collection. And yeah, I said I'm glad that I've never been in that sort of one to do something like that. But you know, I mean, I've always been quite vocal about like pick-up videos. There are people who'll go to car boot sales and whatever, and they'll just pick up these hundreds and hundreds of, like, you know, games, PlayStation games, PS2 games, whatever. And when a collection gets to a certain point, I think to myself, you know, why are people still buying these things? Because we're all here on Earth for a limited time, and that's the bottom line. And to have like 200-300 games on one particular system is just, to me, is just crackers, because you're never ever going to play them. I mean, James mentioned about was it his PlayStation 2 games? He's got like 200. And oh, excuse me a wee second, guys. Man, honest to God, she's found her card. You'll be delighted to hear, so you can sleep easy tonight. Aye, collecting for collecting's sake. Yeah, James had about 200 PlayStation 2 games, and he said that he's powered, I think, the thing up once. He's never going to use them, and so he's made a conscious decision to start offloading stuff. So yeah, collecting for collecting's sake. A lot of people do it. Sometimes, I mean, I do watch some of these YouTube channels, and I do kind of think to myself, that person, not talking about James in particular, but just people, other people, they're going to get to a stage where they've got too much stuff, and they're going to go, what the fuck am I doing here? But yeah, I mean, I've got my collection, if you want to call it that. I've got quite a bit of stuff, but I've got to say, there's nothing really that I've got that I don't want to have. You know, I don't have hundreds and hundreds of games for one particular system. Yeah, I've got ROMs, obviously, which you download for free, so I've got these, but I don't have massive collections of games for other systems, because it just becomes silly. I mean, I've got a mate, now he's got a couple of kids, and he's got a PlayStation, he's got an Xbox 360, and I think the last time he actually had this thing switched on was probably about 2 years ago. He simply does not get any time at all to use the thing. And yet he admits that he still goes online and he buys games, you know, for not a lot of money for the 360. I think he's got a couple hundred games for it. And he'll never, ever get to use it. Now, I know you say, well, oh, it's only £2, whatever. Yeah, fair enough, but to buy stuff that you'll never, ever use, to my mind, is just nuts. But I've done it, you know, these things that I was showing you earlier on, you know, we've all done it kind of thing. But yeah, collecting for collecting's sake. it's a spiral to despair. You know, you're going to get to a point and go, why am I doing this? This is stupid. And then you'll probably end up, although it's like only 50p here, £2 here, £1.50 there, these all add up. When you've got 200 games at you know, £1, £2, there's 400, 500 quid right away. So yeah, I'm never going to get into that, he says. Ha ha ha. Right, Arcade Club. That was the thing that I was at a few weeks ago. There was a programme called Collectaholics on BBC. Now they basically look at people with who are addicted to collecting, funnily enough. I don't know why that followed on from collecting for collecting's sake. But yeah, Andy, who's the owner of Arcade Club, that's the big arcade down in Haslington near Blackburn, that featured on the programme. Now if you didn't get a chance to see it, go on to BBC iPlayer, Collectaholics it's called, watch it, and be prepared to be amazed. What I thought was staggering was they actually valued the collection of arcade cabs, and get this, it was coming to over £300,000. Wow, that's quite a collection. But yeah, watch it, called Collectaholics. It's on BBC, and you'll see Arcade Club. And if that doesn't make you want to go down to Haslington or up to Haslington, wherever it is you stay, then you're not a retro gamer. It's probably, excuse me, it's the best, bar none, arcade experience you could ever get. It's just a fantastic place, so go and check it out. Okay, right, Blimey It's Only, John Studley, as I eventually got to interview John. Now, apologies about the pretty shit quality. I had a few problems getting my sound to work and that kind of stuff, but hence the reason I had these ridiculous looking big massive headphones, Sony headphones. Now the problem was, because these things are like that over your ears, I couldn't actually really hear myself talking, so I was kind of shouting. It's a strange sensation when you can't hear yourself talking, so you end up compensating by talking louder, and that's why the volume of my voice was so much more than John's. I think I actually managed to kind of correct it later on, but you'll also notice that it stopped rather abruptly, and that's because we ran out of time, and I think I was only about a third of the way through the questions, so there is going to be a part 2. That's why I called it part 1 of 2. There's going to be a part 2, hopefully tie up with John sort of like during this week or maybe next weekend, but I want to get part 2 in the bag, and I'll obviously get the questions that you guys wanted me to ask him as well. So yeah, and I've got another few people hopefully lined up for that as well, so that's all good. That's the John Studley interview. Go and watch it. John will be the first to admit it's quite a dry subject, some of it. I mean, he talks about the technical intricacies of Pac-Man, but it's fascinating stuff. If you think that Pac-Man it's all about just eating dots and it's a simple video game, then think again. I mean, the intricacies and there's a lot of things that goes on in that game that people just wouldn't really realise, but go ahead and watch it. It's fascinating stuff. John's an absolute top bloke. If you're going to Blackpool in the 2nd of May, or that's a Saturday in a few weeks' time, which I'm going to, John is going for the perfect Pac-Man game. John's an absolute ace guy, but as he admits, when he's playing, he thrives on playing live, but when he's in the zone, I mean, when I first met John, I thought, oh, he's a bit of a torn-faced bugger, because, you know, I was talking to my mate Tony Temple, who was playing Missile Command, and John was next to him on Pac-Man, and I thought John was wasn't very friendly, but as John says, when he's concentrating, he almost like becomes unaware of kind of things that are going on around him, and you need to be like that to obviously achieve what he can do. So yeah, go and check out John's interview, Blimey It's Only, John Studley, and he is raising money for blood cancer. So if you want to chuck a few quid in for that as well, that would be absolutely fantastic. But John will be going for the first perfect game in the UK. I think there's only 7 people have done it before. So go and support John at play as well, so he'll be down there. So yep, that is that. Now, selling all this crap that I've bought, I've got a couple of things that I've actually bought. I've not paid for yet. I did buy them and ask if I could pay later on. I'm quite excited about them. It's 2 systems. I do actually have one of the systems, but it's a slightly different version, if that makes any sense. And the second system I've bought, I do hope that I don't end up making up a part 2 of the impulse buys, because this other system that I'm buying is probably one I won't actually get to use, but it's such a niche kind of collectible system. I'm buying it, I suppose I'm buying it partly as a, I think it was going to be worth more in a few years' time. So yeah, I'm not going to tell you what it is, what these systems are, but hopefully I'll get it in the next couple of weeks and I'll be able to do a kind of pick up video and let you see them. So yep, that is that. Now, not much more to go, guys. There was a post, in fact I'm going to pause it before it runs out. Okay, drop this bit of paper again. Yeah, there was a post on Facebook last night, and what this person's doing, they're trying, it's not a Kickstarter as such, but what they're trying to do is they're trying to raise money. But it's not, you're not paying for a product. What he's trying to do is raise, he's trying to ask 1 million people to donate £1 and give it to Jeff Minter of Lamasoft fame, who I'm hoping to talk to, but he's not replied to any emails, so I don't know if that'll happen. But this guy is basically saying Jeff has made a lot of amazing games, which I'll not disagree with. I mean, some of his games are my favourite video games of all time. Yeah, what he's trying to say is, pardon me, he's not trying to say that. He's trying to say that Jeff has made a lot of cracking games, and he's going on about this thing about Atari basically stopping Jeff from selling TXK. Now, we're not going to go into that again. I've already discussed my feelings on that. And what the guy is saying, that this is a way of people thanking Jeff for everything that he's done. He's a really nice guy, etc, etc. Now, I don't dispute any of that. Jeff is a hell of a nice guy. I've met him a few times. He's a genuine, down-to-earth bloke, you know, an interesting character, he really is. And he's done a lot. Don't get me wrong, if there was some sort of like some sort of medal for like an MBE for contribution to video games, then I would say that Jeff definitely deserves it, because Jeff he's been going since the very early days. He's always the first to support a new system. Unfortunately, a lot of the systems that he supports tend to kind of bomb, even though Jeff's games are usually the best games on it, and I don't mean that just because there's only a few games in it. He's genuinely an amazing programmer. I mean, TXK and the PS Vita, Grindrunner on the iPhone, they're some of the best games ever. They seriously are amazing stuff. But yeah, Jeff's a hell of a nice guy. He's done an awful lot. He's sold games, but I want to give Jeff £1 because of that. No, I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. There's lots of people. I'm a nice guy. If you want to donate money to me because I'm a nice guy, then feel free. If you do, I'll donate it to charity. No, seriously though, guys, you know, Jeff's not down and out. He's not out in the streets, whatever. He's made a decent enough living with his games. I don't think money really motivates Jeff, but to be a nice guy, and just because he's made lots of great games doesn't mean that people are going to want to donate money and make him a millionaire. I mean, there's lots of, and you know, and I don't mean this in the bad way, but there's lots more deserving people of getting money than Jeff, I would imagine. You know, there's people who give up a lot of time and volunteer, helping the homeless, helping the needy, helping, you know, disadvantaged children, that kind of thing. There's a lot of people who have nothing, who would be more deserving of getting money. I mean, you know, if you're going to raise £1 million quid for Jeff, then why not do it for me? Why not do it for, you know, the wee little old lady who lives down the street, who's really nice? You know, I mean, you don't give people money just because they're nice. And I completely disagree with what the guy's trying to do. It's a nice sentiment. He's obviously doing it with the best intentions, but I totally am against giving somebody money just because they're a nice person. I mean, you know, I mean, you could turn and say, well, it's a shame Jeff's invested all this time in TXK for the PlayStation 4. He's maybe not got any work. Well, you know, touch wood. You know, I'm not going to be in that position with a job, but I mean, if I was made unemployed, I wouldn't expect somebody to set up a, let's give Alan Stewart, let's raise £1 million because he's a nice guy. Life isn't like that. That's not how life works. So yeah, I totally don't agree with that at all. So yeah, that's that. That's all I've got to say in that part. Point. There was something else I was going to touch on, which I can't remember. When I was talking there, I was thinking about it and I thought I'll mention that. But you know what? I can't for the life of me figure out what it was or remember what it was. But if I do remember, I shall certainly mention it. Right, I've only got one question, guys. That's from Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm not actually too sure of your full name, Squire, so I'm just going to call you DTRH. Yep, that sounds good. Another for the Friday Waffle. Hi Alan, in last week's Waffle you were asked if you could interview anyone alive or dead, who would you want to talk to? Now I think I said Elvis Presley, I can't remember exactly. My question for this week is similar. If you could play a 2-player game with anyone, who would it be and what game would you play? For myself, I would love to have a game of Street Fighter against Evo champion Maria Lori Norinder because she is the closest we have to a real life Chun-Li, my favourite character. I'm sure I wouldn't last long, but having Maria Lori Lorinder kick my ass in a game of Street Fighter with her playing as Chun-Li would be an experience I would enjoy as a fan. My wife thinks I'm odd. Well, yeah, you and me both, mate. No, I don't mean I think you're odd, I think my wife thinks I'm odd as well, so yeah. I'll need to actually Google that, Marie Lori Lorinder, Chun-Li. I'll need to have a wee look at that. That's an interesting one. You know what, it's something I've never really thought about. I mean, you're talking about playing a video game with or playing against somebody. I mean, you're obviously limiting to sports games or fighting games. I'm not really a big fighting game fan. You know what? And I'm not doing this because I'm a fanboy, but I'm a bit of a fanboy. It would be Dominic Diamond at Sensei Soccer. I think that would be an absolute fucking brilliant laugh. I think it would. He would be Celtic and I would be, what would that be? Partick Thistle. That was my first kind of team that I used to support. Yeah, Dominic Diamond at Sensible Soccer. I think that would be amazing. I think it would be, there'd be a lot of abuse getting hurled, I would imagine. Yeah, Dominic Diamond in the world of Sensible Soccer. So that is it, guys. That is really it. It's quite a short waffle for a change. Coming up, now Daniel Cordell, he came up with a good suggestion. Last week I put out, that was the year that was, 1982 I think it was. Now, as I mentioned, I struggled to make that one. Ironically, it ran on to something like an hour and a half. I think it was the biggest, that was the year that was, that I've actually done. But 99% of the games that I was playing, I was just bored rigid. Really, I was like, this is crap. You know, they don't interest me at all. Now, I was going to stop at 1982. And a few guys said, look, you can't just leave it, you can't just stop it and leave it open-ended. So what Daniel came up with was, when I first started doing that was the year that was, I did a sort of compilation of the best games from, was it 1975 up to 1977, something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at 1993 up to, I wouldn't say the present day, up till the most recent games that are in May. I don't know when that would be, probably, I don't know, no idea. And I'm just going to pick the best games, the games that I recognise from these years. So they might end up being maybe 20, 30 games, and I'll just cover the last 10 years, because really, to my mind, you know, after about 1990, there were still one or two classic games, but personally, the games that I enjoyed were all sort of before that. So yeah, that's a quite a good idea, Daniel. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a kind of best of a compilation of these games and tie that up. So yep, I'm still, what I'm planning to do after that, I'll hopefully get that done not next week, the week after I think. I'm going to continue with That Was the Year That Was, but rather than That Was the Year That Was arcade, it's going to be That Was the Year That Was home systems. I'll probably do the 8-bit, I think, or maybe even just extend it to home computers, and I'll start right back at, I don't know when would it be. What I'm going to probably do is actually just do a wee search online and feature like the, I don't know, the top 20 best-selling games of that year. I'll see what kind of games come up, but I may even just pick games that I want to feature, sort of thing. But yeah, I'm going to do that. So it'll probably start kind of late 70s with Atari 8-bit. Then we'll move into the sort of the ZX81. Well, I don't think I've got any way of playing the ZX81, even though I do actually own 2 of them. VIC-20. Don't have a Dragon. Have I got a Dragon emulator? I think I do actually. So yeah, I'm going to start that. It's going to be That Was the Year That Was home systems. Look at like the top 20 games, something like that. So that's what I've got planned for next week. Yeah, I think that is it. I really need to revisit what I'm doing with my channel. I mean, I've got my Blame It's Only, which is proving to be popular. I mean, that's great fun to do. I'll have this. I need to start thinking about some more interesting things, because people just get bored shitless watching the same guff over and over again. So anyway, listen guys, the dogs are kicking off downstairs. I think I need to take them out a walk along the canal, which I'm going to do now. So that is it. That is the Friday Waffle on a Saturday. Again, apologies for the delay, but you can blame Carol and Chris, the 2 fat bastards, because they basically took all my attention and I was watching them last night. But go and check them out. It's absolutely hilarious. It's just 2 guys talking pish, a bit like what I do, except they're English as opposed to being a Scotcher like myself. So anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to like, comment and subscribe, and I do apologise to Monkey Spaz for pinching that, but it's an excellent way of getting that in. That is it. Okay guys, have a great weekend, and as usual, thank you very much for watching.